had the promos being cut. The hype machine was going full throttle last night at the RNC prior to Trump's speech, which just wrapped up, I believe. Everyone was out in attendance, including Hulk Hogan.
Crowd behind you. You're going to speak to him.
I can't wait. This is going to be like body slamming the giant at WrestleMania.
What brought you out here? Why are you here?
Well, Brett, I got tired of remaining silent. I sat back and watched the borders collapse. I watched the economy collapse. I watched the price of gas, the price of food, everything just do an upside down flip. And when they took a shot at my hero, Donald Trump, I realized that I couldn't be silent anymore. I had to step up. I had to be a real American, just like all these real Americans here in Donald Trump. I have a voice too, and I want people to know it's time to talk. It's time not to be silent anymore.
I saw your post.
But what happened last week when they took a shot at my hero and they tried to kill the next president of the United States? Enough was enough, and I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again. Let Trumpomania make America great again.
Hogan still got it, Chad.
He's a real American.
The Hulkster. I don't know when the last time he's wrestled. He could do it. Flexing.
He's incredible. The biceps were out in full display. I was watching, and I kind of flip around back and forth on different networks, and I ended up watching all the Republican National Convention last night, and it was highly entertaining. But I think it was Harold Ford Jr. on Fox News,
okay,
who, when asked to describe the theme of Thursday night at the RNC, he said one word: testosterone.
Plenty of it, man.
That was exactly my thoughts watching Hulk Hogan right there, but really watching the entire night. It was testosterone.
And back to speak in front of the RNC was UFC president and CEO Dana White, who was asked by Donald Trump. Trump mentioned in his speech, asked by Trump to introduce him. Dana has been in Italy on vacation and was flying to Italy whenever he found out that former President Trump had an assassination attempt on him. And his phone's blowing up, and he's got, the jet going and all that. And he lands, and soon after, he's asked to do this. He says, at first I believe he said no. 30 minutes later, he calls back and says, yes, I'm going to do it. And Dana is great at what he does. Here's the example.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dana White. I am the CEO and president of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. So 2 weeks ago, I got a call from President Trump asking me if I'd be willing to speak tonight. As usual, there was no pressure, no demands. He asked me as a friend, and of course I said yes. Then, after I accepted his offer, he sent me a text message, and I just want to read to you a little piece of what President Trump wrote to me. Dana, I'm so honored that you will be doing the introduction at the National Republican Convention. Think of it as the biggest fight you ever had, a fight for our country and even the world. I only wish you didn't have to interrupt your family trip, but I hope they understand they love you and they know how important this is. Now think about this. This man's running for president of the United States. He's fighting for the future of this country, and he's concerned about interrupting my family trip. That's the President Trump that I know, a man who truly cares about people. The mainstream media likes to push the narrative that he doesn't care about anyone but himself. I absolutely know that's not the truth because I've been friends with this guy for 25 years. And for the people who know me, they'll know this is true. I just want to make something very clear. Nobody in the Trump campaign has ever told me what to say. Nobody tells me what to say, and I'm nobody's puppet. And I'm not telling you what to think. I'm telling you what I know. And I know President Trump. I know President Trump is a fighter. I've been saying this since 2015. Now look at what's happened over the last 10 years. We have all seen it with our own eyes. I'm in the tough guy business, and this man is the toughest, most resilient human being that I've ever met in my life. The higher the stakes, the harder he fights, and this guy never, ever gives up. So what's at stake here? The answer is in President Trump's text, and I quote, "A fight for our country." I know why he's running for president again. Why else would he put himself through everything he's dealt with just to get back here? We all know he doesn't need this. This guy's got a great life. He has a beautiful family, and he has achieved everything that you could possibly achieve in life. I know President Trump is literally putting his life on the line for something bigger than himself, and he's willing to risk it all because he loves this country. And I know he wants what's best for the American people, all American people. I know he's running for president to save our American dream. I'm living the American dream, and I know the American dream is very real. Whether you were born in this country or came here from someplace else, this is the last real land of opportunity. President Reagan once said, "Government's first duty is to protect the people, not run their lives." And if you're buried in government red tape, how will you ever start your own business? If you're struggling to pay your bills, how can you ever afford to start a family? And if you don't feel safe in your own town, why would you ever buy a house? I know that President Trump is fighting to save the American dream, and that's what's at stake in this election. We are choosing who we want to lead us in this fight. I know President Trump is a proven leader, a fearless leader, and this country was in a much better place when he was in the Oval Office. In my mind, the choice is clear. But this election, we all get to choose. I know I'm going to choose strength and security. I know I'm going to choose opportunity and prosperity. I know I'm going to choose real American leadership and a real American badass. And I'm not telling you what choice to make, and I'm not telling you what to think. I'm telling you what I know. I know America needs a strong leader, and the world needs a strong America. I know Donald J. Trump is the best choice for President of the United States. My fellow Americans, it is my honor to introduce the 45th and soon-to-be 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Clay Travis said it was like it had the build-up last night for Trump's speech like a massive kickoff in college football or the NFL, where you just feel the momentum build for what was going to be a special spectacle. And that was the spectacle leading up to Trump's speech, where you had, of course, the politicians, but also Kid Rock, Hogan, Dana White. Chad, it was something to behold.
Yeah, and I thought
straight entertainment.
There was a lot going on last night. I thought Dana White was the highlight of the evening. Move over P.T. Barnum, move over Don King. Dana White is the greatest promoter of all time. He's done it with his own business, with UFC, and he did it last night in introducing Donald Trump. I thought he was terrific with his messaging, clear, succinct, to the point, got right to it. I loved his intro of Donald Trump and his energy that he brings to anything that he's a part of. There were a lot of sports themes last night at the Republican National Convention. I mean, we saw it right there with Hulk Hogan and Dana White, two sports figures. But more than that, it was, strength versus weakness, energy versus lethargy. There were a lot of different themes you could see being projected. I joked earlier, in one word, testosterone was the way it felt watching the Republican National Convention last night. And there's no better example of that than Dana White. Hutton, you know this well, being a huge UFC fan. The man knows how to promote, and he's got energy. And he brought that energy last night, and that was the theme of the night to me. It is promoting strength, promoting energy, versus what else is going on in America right now at the highest levels. And that's what the Republican National Convention tried to sell last night. I thought they did a good job of selling that part of it.
Yeah, I mean, Dana's straight alpha. And I think what makes Dana White is the way he treats that professional league and organization, the UFC. Anything goes. It's like at the Brady roast, Chad. Everything was available except for going after Robert Kraft, right? And even they still worked in a joke about Robert Kraft, even though that was something that was off limits. Point being, it's comedy. Those are the comedians. They can get away with that. We're getting back to comedy. Dana just treats it as the fight game. This is the fight business. Guys are going to hate each other. They're going to talk crap, and it is what it is. I mean, we've seen Conor throw a chair or try to throw a chair through a bus window. You've had other fighters go at it with trying to mock or critique religious views or, where they're from, what their race is. I mean, Israel Adesanya and Duplessis going at it over one's white, one's black, and both are trying to tout South Africa, for instance. Dana lets all that go because it all leads back to promoting the fight. And Dana owes Donald Trump, and here's why. Whenever Dana White purchased the UFC, they went through a really difficult time trying to get regulated by Vegas and Nevada. They wanted to be able to be on something other than straight to your DVD. You got to go rent this at the local Blockbuster. You remember these fights that would be out?
Yeah.
Long. Donald Trump was there for Dana White whenever Dana needed him the most in a venue, which was the Taj Mahal. And Trump has always had Dana's back. Dana certainly has Trump's back, and you're seeing it here play out over the last 3 RNCs. I love the guy. He's really Dana's untouchable, considering he's got a deal with ESPN. He controls all the broadcasting elements of that, and they're on ESPN Plus, and he can literally do anything and avoid suspension. He's on the Pat McAfee level before Pat McAfee was there.
Yeah, and he can go on. You mentioned the roast of Tom Brady. He can go on and say, you liberal Fs.
Yeah.
As he starts out, you cut my time before I got up here in his bit during the roast of Tom Brady. He can say that and get away with it.
And the rights fees are up.
And no one's going to do anything. He's going to continue to do business with whoever he wants. I mean,
they can negotiate in January.
I watched that, and I was anticipating that part of it, maybe more than anything else. And I thought he over-delivered. And for someone who does not have a ton of interest in watching a bunch of UFC events, I am very interested in Dana White and his business model and him as an entrepreneur, but also just a guy who understands entertainment and promotion as well as anyone in the world right now. And I watched that last night and think this guy's the ultimate promoter. It's truly incredible how he can,
and I've long said, man,
present energy and strength and alpha maleness and all those things, but he kind of brings you in as he's doing it and delivers it with a powerful message like that about Donald Trump. I thought it was awesome.
And no one else in that game comes close to him.
Right.
No one. Chad?
Now, let me also say, over an hour and a half for a speech is way too long to sit through any speech, okay? That was way, way too much. That was over 20 minutes longer than the previous longest speech at a convention, which was also by Donald Trump. third all-time is also by Donald Trump, and it's longer than that one by an extra 20 minutes.
What was it, hour 32?
I get that they're in promoting strength over weakness. Now that you could come back and say to Joe Biden, hey, stand for 90 minutes and don't even speak and see if you can do it, right? Like if that's the game you're playing, with that, I
don't
understand.
Don't even come at it, so try to walk 18
holes. I understand the response being, I spoke for an hour and 33 minutes. Beat that. I can stand and talk for as long as I want. But, man, oh, man, that's a long time.
No, there's no need to beat that.
Even Fox News last night, as I'm watching, was admitting people were falling asleep by the end of the speech, and people were leaving before the speech was over.
Chad, the average, I forgot who's had this, which network, so forgive me. I think it was Fox News or maybe NBC, CNN, something. I'm flipping around. And the average feature film is like an hour and 31 minutes. And I think Trump has a minute longer in a speech.
Well, the start of the speech, that was, I thought,
that was awesome.
Outstanding in him explaining
the first 10 to 15 minutes,
the assassination attempt and everything else. It was probably like a 15 to 20 minute, part of it that was all on prompter, and he did not veer off the prompter for that part of it. I thought that was great. I thought points of things he was saying was really, really good, but an hour and a half is a lot. It's a lot. That's a lot for anyone to stand up there and speak.
Melania, we salute you.
Yes.
I did just say that.
Yes.
Well done, Melania.
First time we've seen Melania in a while. Man. She's stunning.
I know.
I mean, stunning.
Always looks great.
We got to see
on point.
Ivanka for the first time in a while. And we got and Jared Kushner. And we got to see Melania for the first time in a while last night.
That's right.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Chad, you're right about the alphas versus betas in that. The portrayal of what they're showing us.
I think that's part of it is, if you want to, and I've seen the response from Biden's office.
That's a Trump rally, too.
In the long, rambling, speech he gave, this was said, and he continues to not talk about the real issues and everything that the opposition would say. But then the counter to that, to me, would be, you get up there and speak for 90 minutes. See if you can do it. That's kind of what they're putting out there for everyone to see. Maybe I'm thinking too deeply into it, and maybe it was just a speech that he just got off topic and went really long, and maybe longer than he thought. But who knows?
I thought it was a nice gesture and certainly warranted with the gear.
The firefighter.
From Corey's gear, yeah.
That was cool. And then the fact that they've raised, what did he say, 4-point-something million, and he had a check for $1 million to the families of the gentleman that died tragically, but also the families that were injured, the people that were injured at the rally. That was pretty cool. Who was it? Dan Newland. I almost wanted to Google it when he pulled it out of his pocket. So I've actually got a check right here for $1 million to the families. My good friend Dan Newland, or whatever he said. I'm thinking
Danny Noonan.
Yeah, from Caddyshack. But I'm immediately thinking, man, what a shout out during that speech that he's got the check from him and gives the name out.
Dude, just randomly here, how many people are going to love the no tax on tips campaign that he's pushing?
I haven't even seen this.
Well, he mentioned it last night, and he said it before too.
I'm going to be honest. I had to fast forward through a bit of it. I couldn't watch a full feature film of a speech.
He's for not if you're in the service industry and you are tipped, that will be untaxed. Because right now, like in Vegas, Chad, when we were there, if you notice, they're putting the tip automatically on the check.
I never knew that they got taxed on tips to begin with.
You don't if you're cash. You're supposed to turn that in, but whatever. That's why I always try to tip in cash because. But a lot of people don't carry cash. I don't have any on me right now. Point being, in Vegas when we were there, and he pointed this out. Like he had the waitress came up and they were doing something at the Trump Hotel there, and she mentioned about getting taxed by the government, whatever. And he said, "Oh, you get to keep your cash." He was like, "Well, nowadays it's mostly on the tab already because you automatically put the tip on the check when you bring it out. So when you pay with your card, it's already there, and the government gets a piece of that. It's all combined in. So he's all for no tax on tips. The service industry doesn't have to be just a waiter or waitress. There's a lot of different, lines of work that include tipping the service. I mean, even Sonic wants a tip when they skate it out to you.
I mean, this is this should be as universally approved of a measure that I've ever heard on all sides. I mean, if you were doing anything, going out to eat, going out for drinks, you want the server or the bartender to get your tip, not the government,
right? That
you give to them. So I think everyone on that end of the service industry would love it, and of course, servers and hospitality
Uber
workers,
drivers,
they would love that too. This is universal. This is like running for class president on the platform of I'm going to put an ice cream machine in the cafeteria for everyone. This is what I want to make happen, and then all the kids go crazy when they hear that. This is. In politics that has divided us, this is something that we can universally approve of.
I mean, this
whole platform, I feel like everyone should say, yeah, I vote yes on the measure to give servers and bartenders their tips and not the government.
Because they say, quote unquote, on Uber, your driver gets 100% of your tip. I call BS on that. That's I was big on the Apple they were sabotaging their own devices in order to slow their devices down to make you go get the new device, right? And this was before they admitted it. You'll remember I was big on this on the show. This is my thing now, as I think Uber, I mean, if I tip 20% or whatever on the drive, how do I know or how does the driver know that that's 20% that they're receiving? They just know the amount. They don't know the percentage that I chose. And I don't know one way or the other how it went down.
Folks at Uber are probably skimming a little bit off the top.
Well, that would be tax-free.
I'm all for it.
Chad, there is a battle between one Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback to likely another, a two-time MVP and a current reigning most valuable player. Lamar Jackson wears number 8. So did Troy Aikman. And there has been a filing in court, Lamar Jackson filing for the trademark not to be allowed for Troy Aikman's number 8 trademark. I'm curious about this because Aikman has his beer in Texas, and it's just spelled out 8. And they're going after that, too, because Lamar Jackson is trying to say, hey, when people see 8, they're going to connect me to this based on the marketing things that I'm doing behind the scenes. I'm also intrigued by being able to trademark
a number,
or like Major League Baseball. This came out in 2023. They were trying to trademark and license Boston, the word Boston, and owning that name to a city. I don't understand how that's legally possible in how we go about marketing and advertising, and just the fact that citizens would own that name in the city that they're living in. Same for a number. When you think of the great number 8s, over just at top of mind for me, Kobe Bryant, number 8. Yogi Berra was number 8. Cal Ripken Jr. was number 8. Dale Earnhardt Jr., number 8. I mean, I can keep going through here.
Alex Ovechkin.
Alex Ovechkin is number 8. Steve Young, number 8.
Ooh, my favorite.
Aikman has this for his beer. I get it. Again, it's just 8 is the number on the beer, but it's not totally owning the digit. But I'm on Lamar Jackson's side here, and I hope that it goes back to being wide open more than closed off.
This needs to be public domain. The number 8.
I don't get that.
I don't like with great power comes great responsibility. This is too much power for one company or one person to have to be able to get a patent or copyright.
And he's
on
licensed
a
and trademarked a lot of things. Aikman has, and again, his alcohol, their brand is 8, but it's spelled out EIGHT. There it is. So I get this. Like the logo itself, all that's owned by Aikman. Cool. But the actual ability to use that, if you're Lamar Jackson,
I love the wheat field in the background.
Odd to me that he's going after that and has to.
So the appeal says specifically, it claims that Jackson has expended considerable time, effort, and expense in promoting, advertising, and popularizing the number 8 in connection with his personality and fame. It's well known by this number due to his notoriety and fame, along with his promotion of this number and his trademarks and media coverage. And that by Aikman using the number 8, it's going to cause confusion or mistake or to deceive those that think they're buying from Jackson's company.
Which I understand that argument.
I would just like to more specifically hone in on a legal argument that says No one person or company has the right solely to the number 8.
Well, Ohio State tried to trademark the word "the."
The, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That just boggles my mind. Chad,
and by the way, kudos to Troy Aikman for pulling this off to begin with.
Yeah.
Someone on his team had the foresight to say, let's get a trademark on the number 8.
And I like the branding of it. I mean, he's a 2-time Super Bowl champ.
Yeah.
3-time Super Bowl champ, 1-time Super Bowl MVP. But you have the 2-time MVP of the league. I mean.
I love Troy Aikman. Let's show this photo one more time.
Where's Steve Young in this?
Of Troy Aikman. Do we think Troy Aikman's ever been in a wheat field like this and held up
I don't know.
A beer stein?
Got a lot of time on his hands. Getting paid a lot of money.
Or is that sort of
doesn't have to do a lot of things for ESPN?
Troy, look, we got a big photo shoot coming out in a wheat field. We need you to attend.
You can only get this in Texas.
Oh, that looks like he's actually there.
You can only get this in Texas.
Now there he's got a can.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Elite Light Lager.
He's a cool dude. Damn that Troy Aikman.
A lot of swag to him.
A lot of swag. Hangs out in wheat fields.
He's someone that would speak at the
got
RNC,
his own beer.
Right? You could see him at the podium last night.
Yeah. Got his own number 8 trademark. I mean, just a lot of things going on for Troy Aikman.
Same could be said for Riley Gaines up in Milwaukee at the Republican National Convention. Totally shocked by this, though. So Orange County Choppers, we remember the show back in the day, right? The American Principles Project shows up, and they surprise Riley Gaines with this. They've got the chopper with you have the XXXY brand on this. We have a video that goes with this that was sent to me. But they give her the chopper with all of the logos and branding on it in support of her initiatives. And we have the video here, I believe. Showing you the chopper that was built by Paul Sr. by
That's
Orange
awesome.
County Choppers. There's Our Bodies, Our Sports, and you'll see on the back the XXXY clothing brand. That's cool.
Very cool. And it's in her Kentucky blue.
Yes, it is.
Wildcat blue.
Her father, Brad, said if she ever tries to ride this thing, she will run it up a tree.
Yeah, my next question would be, do we think she'll actually operate this bike at any point? Is it going straight in the garage?
I'm sure Brad will.
Yeah, good.
That's awesome, man. That's
very cool.
And she was stunned by the gesture.
Riley, in a roundabout way, got mentions by a lot of the speakers at the Republican National Convention, including Donald Trump with Leah Thomas and that whole story. So very cool to see.
Odell Beckham Jr. I don't understand if he won or lost here. It's just weird how he's acting. Chad, have you ever lost something but you felt like you won? I mean, you can feel like that, I guess, in a game. Or
Oh yeah, for sure. Like there's been an outcome where you feel like you may have lost the battle, but you're winning the war.
There's
thing.
$20 million lawsuit that he failed to obtain any monetary win here, but he was in a lawsuit with Nike, trying to get back royalties that he was arguing that Nike was withholding from him. Here's his initial post after the ruling, where he says, "Just do ... right." And our viewers can read the rest of it because I can't. Justice was served, though, is in all caps at the bottom of this. So it appears as though...
He says, I want to take this moment to thank God first and foremost. Thank you, Heavenly Father. I want to thank my team for every hour they have spent preparing on this case. I want to thank the jury for simply doing what's right in a world full of wrong. My message to whoever needs this is... stand up for what you believe in. Justice was served.
Okay, so you think he wins, right? I mean, that's...
Yeah.
But it's apparently very misleading because Nike puts out this statement. With this verdict, all of Mr. Beckham's claims have been decided against him without any monetary award. The decision confirmed that Nike complied with its commitments. Nike is grateful to the jury and the court for their careful attention to this case.
So even though he lost, he's still saying, Nike needs to just do right.
I guess perception is reality.
Give him some money.
Perception is reality, so you just want the appearance that you beat Nike, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people are beating Nike right now, monetarily.
What's amazing now is, you could put anything on social media.
Yeah.
And just
I know,
claim
dude.
a victory lap and act like it. And most people are going to read that post if they follow you, and they're just going to assume that you won and you got all the money. That's all their brain's going to register. They're not going to look for a second source. They're not going to go to the internet. They're not going to watch it on TV. They're not going to do any research. They're going to see that social media post. Hutton, what should we lie about on social media that we've won? Nobel Peace Prize? Pulitzer?
Yeah. But just change our bio.
Marconi's? I mean, what
Change
can
the
we
bio.
win? Yeah, Emmys?
We can win it all.
Yeah. I want to take this moment
We
to
beat
praise
Dockich.
God and thank everyone who voted for us for this
When
prestigious
we both had
award.
local shows, Dockich and us, we beat him nationally.
That would be
Instead
good.
of finishing number 2,
Let's
we could just
get
claim number 1.
Let's get a fake ranking of shows and then just claim superiority. And have no one fact check it or look into it at all. And just if people who follow us, hey, Hutton and Withrow just won a huge award. Look at that. Whether it's true or not, that is both the
Award-winning.
beauty and the agony of social media, is you can say whatever the hell you want and people will believe it. That's the truth.
Go back to the
It's the
Nike
truth
rep
while also being a lie.
with Complex, the Nike rep with Complex statement, where it's, with this verdict, all of Mr. Beckham's claims have been decided against him without any monetary award.
I award you no money, and may God have mercy
God,
on your
yes,
soul.
I'm thinking that too. 0.0.
Yes. At no point during your incoherent rambling did you come close to saying anything that resembled an actual thought. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. My favorite part of that Jim Downey, hilarious writer that plays that part in Billy Madison, is when he looks out to the crowd and he just kind of turns from the dais and says, "All these people out here are now dumber for having listened to you." I just love how he points out all these people are now dumber.
Chad,
great film.
We are going to be smarter. Oh, here we go. Everyone, here we go.
There it is.
There's your
Jeff Epstein, the financier.
What does that say? My spouse is sleeping around. It was right behind you.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Also, the guy behind one of the better bits we've seen where he was on Conan O'Brien's podcast and he acted like he knew nothing about the news of Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes, that's right.
Remember, and you couldn't tell if it was real or not because Conan, I don't think, was in on it. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, Jeff Epstein, the financier?" And he said, "He's been in trouble?" What? He's like, "I've been to many house parties that he hosted in Manhattan. He's been in the news? What's going on?" It was great.
Before we get to Clay Travis, Nick Saban, Bryant-Denny Stadium. Now the field is named after Nick Saban. Here's Alabama making the announcement.
Introducing Nick Saban as the head coach for the University of Alabama. Welcome to the University of Alabama.
And what I would like for every football team to do that we play is to sit there and say, I hate playing against these guys.
He's the best to ever do it.
7 national championships.
Nick Saban goes down as the greatest college football coach in the history of
And he
sports.
changed everything.
Nick Saban is, to me, the best coach in the history of college football.
But I want everybody here to know, this is not the end. This is the beginning. This team, you fans, our administration, and the future players that will join our program to make this one of the most consistent winning programs in the country.
Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. And we know Saban's going to be thrilled with this and honored with his statement. But he's made statements about the Crimson Tide this week at SEC Media Days. And I can't help but think all year, whenever he's analyzing what the Tide are doing, you have Kalen DeBoer, who's following in Saban's footsteps, and then you have the players that are having to react to whatever Saban's saying, like we saw with Malachi Moore, who is discussing what Saban had to say about their secondary this week.
Obviously, Coach Saban made a comment about secondary possibly an area of concern.
Right.
What were your thoughts on that as a former player?
As a former player, it's a little different seeing Coach Saban on the media side, but he just being honest, losing Kool-Aid and Terrion, two great corners, 2 first-round corners in my opinion. it's always going to be hard to replace that type of talent. But Damani Jackson, Xavier Brown, Jalen Mbakwe, Zay Mincy, everybody, Deshaun Jones, everybody just coming in, putting their head down, going to work each and every day. And I'm really liking the progress I'm seeing with that group.
What is the excitement level of Oklahoma, Texas, and the SEC, and how excited are y'all about going to Hogan late in the season?
One more time?
What's the excitement level about Oklahoma, Texas joining?
Excitement level for Oklahoma, Texas. There was a question. I'm sure he said it was.
That was just an example of all the Oklahoma, Texas questions that were asked at media days.
And finally, here's Kalen DeBoer on being asked about Nick Saban not selecting Alabama to represent one of the two teams in the SEC championship game.
There was a media member that kicked off SEC Media Days Monday, a guy named Nick Saban, that picked Georgia and Texas to play for the SEC championship. Do you like? I mean,
I have a theory, but go ahead.
Yeah, I know your theory. Do you kind of like being slighted a little bit? Not just by Nick, because I do think when we leave here, I think these guys would agree. I think most media members are going to go Georgia, Texas.
But we're historically bad at this. You should.
Oh yeah,
we are.
Ain't no doubt.
Yes.
I've had it every way. It's fun having being selected as the top dog and just knowing you're going to take everyone's best shot, and I think that's going to be the case at Alabama anyway. But it's also fun to try to prove people wrong, and kind of within your confines of your building, kind of know that you're out to prove something special, and maybe there's a reason why in the predictions at the beginning of the season. But for us, we're just going to focus on what we can control, and right now the predictions really don't matter. It was what happens at the end of the season is what really matters.
I believe Nick wanted to put the pressure on Georgia, Texas, and Ole Miss, and not do it for his new friend in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah. There's DeBoer there, and the preseason media poll by the SEC media released it. They also have Georgia and Texas in Atlanta meeting for the championship. Alabama, 3rd in the preseason poll.
I saw Tennessee 7th in the preseason SEC. I'd love to see Tennessee-Alabama become a game that every year is between two top 10, top 15 teams going back and forth for the sole reason that Kalen DeBoer and Josh Heupel are both from the state of South Dakota, coaching in that Tennessee-Alabama rivalry that is so unique and crazy when you think about the population of that state. For two guys from that state, around the same age, to be coaching in the Tennessee-Alabama rivalry of all games every year, and you can hear some similarities there with DeBoer and Heupel when he speaks. That'd be pretty cool.